All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Emily Weber. I'm with the Office of Assemblymember Maienschein. We have a great panel lined up for us today with some wonderful presentations. But first, we're going to hear a few words from Assemblymember Maienschein. So Assemblymember, when you're ready, you can take it away.
Thanks, Emily. I want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us for our virtual Senior Scam Stopper seminar. Try to say that 5 times fast, but I'm very pleased that we're able to hold this today, that we're able to do so safely in a virtual format. These are important. We've always done these each year that I've been in office, but haven't had to do them via Zoom until COVID. But I thought it was important that we still continue to have these to get the information out to our community. I think, as many people know, seniors are the #1 target for scam artists. In the United States, 1 in 5 seniors has been the victim of fraud. And I think law enforcement and others believe this number to be much higher because so much of it goes unreported. The Federal Trade Commission has reported that fraudulent telemarketers direct over 80% of their calls to seniors. So on this front, during my tenure as the assembly member for the 77 districts, I've focused on protecting our seniors for our community. And 2 of my bills were recently passed and signed by the governor. AB 636, the governor signed it this year, which increases the capacity of law enforcement to investigate cases of elder abuse, including cases of financial abuse. And then last year, I authored AB 2471, which expands the right to cancel window for seniors who sign complex contracts. It also provides preventative protection to seniors by extending the time frame for contracts that relate to home solicitation, home improvement, seminar sales, services or repairs, and property assessed clean energy assessment. So we have a great panel today for you. They're experts in the field. They're going to provide you a number of tips to help. And I also would like to ask Emily from my office, who I know is kind of chairing this meeting, if she would go over the agenda for today and kind of some instructions as to how to navigate this format to make sure your questions get answered. But thank you again for attending today. And always feel free to reach out to our office on this topic or any other. So thank you. It's good to see you all, even if it's virtually. And please enjoy the rest of the seminar, and hopefully it helps provide some important tips for you.
All right, thank you, Assemblymember. Well, like he said, my name is Emily. I'm with the Office of Assemblymember Maienschein. I'm happy to be here with you all today to share this important information on how to protect ourselves from scams and identify the behaviors of scam artists. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again so you guys can see the agenda for today. Our presentations will be given by Kevin Duraway from the Contractor State Licensing Board, Jackie Wiley from the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, and Tanya Martin from the California Department of Insurance. Topics of conversation today will include COVID scams, auto repair, home improvement, insurance scams, as well as various other common scams currently being perpetrated on the senior community. And then at the end of our presentation, we will have time for a question and answer segment. You have 2 options on how to ask a question during this Q&A. You can either raise your hand and we can verbally or call on you to verbally ask your question. As soon as you raise your hand, the panelists and I will be notified that you have a question, and we can unmute your microphone and you can ask it then. If you'd rather not ask your question verbally, you can type it out in the Q&A button. That should be right next to the raise hand button down at the bottom of your toolbar. And then again, the panelists and I will be notified that you have a question and I can read it out for you. Additionally, if you'd like to leave the webinar at any time, you can select the red Leave Meeting button at the very bottom of your screen. And I also want to mention that live transcript is enabled during this webinar. So if you'd like to turn captions on, you can select the live transcript button. That should be at the bottom of your toolbar as well, and select Show Subtitles. For the Q&A session, I would also like to mention that we do want to keep the questions related to the seminar material as we are on a time frame, and just to be respectful of our panelists' time and everybody else's time, we will be answering questions related to those topics. All right. So now that we have all that covered, I think we're good to go. So we're going to start with Kevin Duraway from the Contractor State Licensing Board. Kevin, you are good to go.
Emily, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us this morning. Again, my name is Kevin Duraway from Contractor State License Board. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. So Contractor State License Board, part of our role is consumer protection. We protect California consumers by licensing and regulating the state's construction industry. We actually license more than 290,000 contractors in 45, soon to be 46 different classifications. We just introduced a new B2 residential remodeling classification this year. So why am I here to talk to you today? Well, unfortunately, unlicensed contractors do target seniors. Part of the reason why they target seniors is seniors are very trusting, which makes them more vulnerable. What we often see at Contractors Board is unlicensed contractors will try to manipulate seniors and establish connections with them to take advantage of them. Oh, your grandson Jamie goes to Laguna Creek High School. Oh, my neighbor's kid goes to Laguna Creek High School too and plays on the softball team or the football team. So they try to establish connections with you to take advantage of you. Some of the biggest scams we see at Contractor State License Board involve down payment, specifically a down payment that is too large. In California, the down payment must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whatever is less for a home improvement project. So the contractor can't say, I need half the money up front to cover my materials because of COVID or because of the supply chain shortage dealing with wood. No, it always has to be 10% or $1,000, whatever is less. That is California state law. Some of the other common scams we see at Contractors Board involve door-to-door sales and pressure tactics. This may involve a knock you get at your door and someone is offering a free home inspection. I'm in the neighborhood, I'm offering a free home inspection to you today. So you invite them in your home, trusting them, and all of a sudden they start pointing out things they're noticing around your house. Oh, you have a crack in your wall. You have some water damage there on your ceiling. You have a leaky faucet. All of a sudden they start to discover little repairs here and there that they insist need to be done or are part of a bigger problem. And chances are these individuals are unlicensed and they're simply there to scam you. Another scam involves pressure tactics. Well, there will be a group of unlicensed individuals at the door saying, hey, we're in your neighborhood. We just did your neighbor's lawn down the street and today's your lucky day. We've got some extra landscaping materials for you that we can help you with your front lawn. Your front lawn needs to be redone. Just give us a couple $1,000s right now and we'll redo your lawn for you. Here's the problem. You're giving them too much money up front. You don't know if they're licensed. You don't even know what materials they're using on your front lawn. So what's going to end up happening is your lawn's either going to be a mess, they're going to do a lousy job, they're going to leave the work unfinished, or they're just simply going to take your money in hand and leave without completing any work at all. So really, we don't ever want to give into those pressure tactics. A good way to combat these kind of tactics is, you know what, I'm not interested. Or don't even open your outside door. If you have a locked screen door, just talk through the screen door. Leave your materials on the doorstep. I'm not interested. Thank you. Goodbye. And just close the door and lock it. Sometimes you need to take a stand against these scammers, and that's one way to do it. Other common scams we see at Contractors Board involve use of verbal agreements. Oh, well, you promised me to repave my sidewalk as well with concrete, not just the front. Well, that's only your word versus the word of your contractor. There's nothing in writing. That's very difficult for CSLB or even small claims court to come in and help you with any kind of verbal agreement. You want to get all your agreements with your contractor in writing. Another way that verbal agreements can come back to hurt you is the prices of materials if they start changing during the job. And that is something we've seen a lot during the pandemic. The price of lumber has changed. It's gone up, it's gone down. You want to make sure that if the price of the material is changing during the job, that needs to be changed in the contract and noted on the contract and signed as a change order. Everything needs to be done and made in writing. Another common scam involves payment. Again, never pay in cash, okay? Never pay in cash. Always pay with a check and save a copy of the check with you in something called a project file. That can be a manila folder where you keep copies of your contract, all the contact information of your licensed contractor, all of their subcontractors, photos of the work. That kind of information should all be kept in that project file. So what can you do if you've been scammed? Well, please call CSLB immediately to get a complaint form, 1-800-321-CSLB or 2752. You can also go to our website and click on that button right there on the right of this slide, file a complaint. You should know that you have 4 years from the date of your construction project to file a complaint. And you also now have 5 days to cancel a contract. That protects you from solicitors and those high pressure situations that I was talking about earlier. The assembly member also brought that up. There's an example on our website of where to find the file a complaint button. So why should you use a licensed contractor? Well, all licensed contractors have passed trade and law exams and they've undergone thorough background checks. CSLB licensed contractors are also required to hold $15,000 contractor bonds and carry workers' compensation insurance for all their workers. Workers' compensation insurance is extremely important. It covers worker injuries while they're on the job, which protects homeowners. If a contractor has employees and they do not have workers' compensation insurance and one of those workers gets hurt on the job, the homeowner could be held liable for the worker's injuries. So you always want to make sure your contractor, if they have employees, they have workers' compensation insurance. And that will be listed right there on our website when you look up the contractor's license number to make sure that they are licensed. So you should also use a licensed contractor because you get greater consumer protection. You have more options for yourself. CSLB can step in and we can help you with negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. These are all services that are free to you. You should also know that California law requires the use of licensed contractors for any home improvement job that costs $500 or more. A contractor can't break up a larger project into several smaller payments. It's the total cost of the project. If it costs more than $500, you need a licensed contractor in the state of California. So how can you find a licensed contractor? I get this question a lot. Well, ask your friends and family if they have any recommendations first. When you get those recommendations, check the license of the person that they recommended. You can also find a list of local contractors that are working in your area by using something we have on our website called the Find My Licensed Contractor tool. You can simply type in your zip code and pick what kind of contractor you're looking for, and you'll get a list of licensed contractors in your area. You can also get all this information by calling our call center at 1-800-321-2752. And here's an example of the Find My Licensed Contractor feature on our website. You click on that and you'll get to a page that looks like this, where you can type in your city of residence or your zip code. And from that drop-down menu, you're going to pick what kind of contractor you're looking for. A general B is for larger home rebuilding projects. But if you want to look for other contractors, like say you want a new fence, you pick a fencing contractor. If you're looking for concrete work, you want to pick the concrete contractor. We also have swimming pools, electric, solar, all different types of contractors. So you always want to protect yourself when you're working with a contractor. Get at least 3 bids and get them in writing. So why do we ask you to get 3 bids? Well, I had a neighbor across the street, Mabel, her name is. She was getting a brand new fence put in her backyard. I said, Mabel, whatever you do, I work for Contractors Board, please get at least 3 bids, okay? And get them in writing. She's like, well, I don't know why. It seems like a lot of extra phone calls, a lot of extra work. I don't know why. Just please do it, Mabel. So she did it. The first bid she got was $1,000. The second bid for her fence work was $2,000. The third bid was $5,000. So you see the big price range, the big difference in the prices there of Mabel's project. Now, granted, some of the projects involved different types of wood. Some of them maybe were offered, she was quoted using steel posts for her fence. Point of the matter is, Mabel is a better informed consumer now because she has an idea of the marketplace the price ranges for her project. And when you're meeting these contractors, also ask them for references and check those references. If they've done work in your neighborhood, ask for some phone numbers. Maybe you can call those neighbors and make sure that those neighbors were happy with working with this contractor. When you're getting your 3 bids and you're meeting these contractors for the first time, we encourage you to check their pocket license. So they should all be carrying a pocket license very similar to this one. It'll be a laminated plastic card the size of a credit card, and they'll have their license number on it, their business name information, the license that they're holding, and the expiration date of the license. I want you to compare that pocket license to a picture ID similar to a driver's license, just so then you can confirm that the individual you're speaking with is in fact the one who is carrying the license with CSLB. While you're getting your 3 bids, again, ask them about employees. If they have employees, they need to have workers' compensation insurance. Please don't feel pressured to make a decision. Tell the contractor you're getting at least 3 bids. If they're putting pressure on you to make a decision, that is usually a red flag, and it's usually a sign that things aren't going to work out well between you and this individual. You don't want a contractor making you feel uncomfortable. You're going to be getting into a working relationship with them, and they're going to be working on a very expensive project for your home. So if you're not comfortable, find a different contractor. Also, don't ever sign an estimate. Remember, it's not a contract. More things about the contract. Only the contractor who holds the license or someone called a home improvement salesperson, or HIS, can negotiate and sign a contract. By the way, the home improvement salesperson should also be registered with CSLB. You can find them on our website and check their license numbers as well. Be really careful if you're offered an electronic contract. It can be edited after you sign. So you really want to make sure you get a written copy of the contract signed by you and your contractor before any work begins. The contract should always include something called a progress payment schedule. That's to make sure that the payments do not get ahead of the work. You shouldn't be paying the contractor more than half of the money until half of the project is completed, and so on. And you never want to make the final payment to a contractor until the project is completed and up to your standards. The written contract should also include the identification of your subcontractors, if they're going to hire any subcontractors to do any work on this project, and even the material suppliers. That's so you can make sure that they've been paid and there's no mechanics lien situations. The written contract should also include start and finish dates for your project. Again, if there's any kind of changes to the contract, like I mentioned earlier, the cost of the materials changing, or even if the project's not going to be finished on time, that should be changed in writing on the contract. Both you and the contractor should sign the change orders. Contractor State License Board is seeing more and more solar problems as well. We have a solar task force and a solar smart page on our website, which we encourage you to visit before you consider any kind of solar project with your home. We also developed a new solar complaint form to improve our response time to solar complaints. If you're going to be considering a solar project for your home, make sure you're asking yourself if solar is right for you. You want to make sure you're considering the length of time you're going to be spending in your home. You want to be spending probably at least another 5 years in your home to reap the benefits of solar. You also may want to consider the direction your roof is pointing to get the full benefits of solar. And if your roof is obstructed by any kind of trees, do you get enough direct sun for solar to make a difference for you? You also want to do the math with any kind of these solar projects and look at your monthly utility statements. How much does the solar system cost and the installation? And how much am I going to be saving on my monthly statements? Ballpark figure, when will I finally break even and pay off the solar project and actually start saving money? You should really consider that before you get into putting solar panels on your roof. Some things you really should consider about solar and remember about solar is not free, no matter what a salesperson may tell you. You should always use caution and beware of financing programs that involve PACE loans. My colleague Jackie Wiley will be going into PACE loans a little later. Hero loans, Chief, or Real loans. Those are all kinds of financing programs that usually involve high interest rates, and they can also be tied to your property taxes. I've seen things in newspapers around California where they get into these bad financing deals with solar, all of a sudden 2 years down the line, their property taxes double and triple. They're not able to afford them anymore, and they end up losing their home because they signed a bad financing program solar deal. So use a lot of caution when you're dealing with financing solar. Always protect yourself. Make sure you have control over your payments. Get everything in writing. Also, when you're dealing with solar, you should have what's called a financing estimate and disclosure document. That should clearly spell out the true cost of this solar project to you and how much you'll have to pay for this solar project to be installed on your home. Also, read the contract carefully. Have a friend and family member there with you to read the contract carefully. I've heard of consumers even having lawyers look over a contract before signing it. You really want to make sure that you understand what is in that contract before you sign it. Again, protect yourself and do your homework when you're hiring a licensed contractor. Use the Find My Licensed Contractor tool on our website. And if you're going to go with family and friends recommendations, that's a great thing, but make sure you check their license before working with them. Perform an instant license check on our website. You simply type in the license number and you'll get a page that pulls up, tells you if there's any complaints on the license, make sure they have workers' compensation insurance, that the license is active, and so on. You can also get all this information from our call center, 1-800-321-CSLB. Please remember, if you're going to remember anything from my presentation today, please remember the down payment must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whatever's less. And please don't let the payments get ahead of the work. If only half of the work is completed, you should only be giving the contractor half of the money. All of that should be spelled out in the contract. Again, you can always call CSLB 1-800-321-CSLB or 2752. You can also email us, social@cslb.ca.gov. Thank you so much for your time today. I'll be passing it back to Emily. Thank you so much. We'll take questions at the end.
Thank you, Kevin, for those important tips on for people to know when hiring contractors. Next, we're going to hear from Jackie Wiley from the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. Jackie, when you're ready.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and those who are listening in, those who have dialed in. This would probably be the last thing you thought about doing on a Friday, but I'm glad that you are all here as we are all presenting great critical information for all to know and to learn about. I am with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quick. Let me stop that. 1 second. There we go. And so that I can pull up some great information as well. Okay, so again, I'm with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, and most of you probably are saying, who are we, what do we do, where did we come from, and all of that. I am one of the education and outreach coordinators located in our Los Angeles office. So today I want to talk to you, give a brief overview of the department, what the California Consumer Financial Protection Law is and what we're doing with it, the Dfpi role and education and outreach team, what we are doing to educate consumers such as yourselves, and get into the common and the pandemic inspired scams and some defense tips, and then how you can contact the department and how we can be of help to you all. So let me just start by giving a brief overview and letting you know that you probably have heard of the Department of Business Oversight. Yes, we are formally the Department of Business Oversight. We have offices located in San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and our headquarters is located in Sacramento. We were renamed the Department of Financial Protection Innovation as of January 1, when the governor signed a priority bill so that we can which included or established the California Consumer Financial Protection laws. And with that bill, so the many changes that you'll be seeing through our department as a result of the California Consumer Financial Protection Law is the fact that it's giving us more authority to regulate those industries that were not regulated before. So again, we are this California state license and regulatory agency for state financial institutions, products, and professionals, such as chartered banks and credit unions, California finance lenders. For most of us who own homes, you have to deal with the financial lender. California residential mortgage lenders and servicers. When we own our homes or we're making payments, we deal with a mortgage servicer. So consumer and commercial loan companies, payday lenders, and of course, we all also deal with the escrow agents and more. So you can find a full list of the department's licensees when you go to our website, which is located here on the screen, www.dfpi.ca.gov. So again, with the CFPL, it allows us to expand our authority to now regulate services from debt collectors, credit repair and consumer credit companies, debt relief agencies, and others. The second bullet here talks about protect consumers from predatory businesses without imposing undue burdens on honest and fair operators. What does that mean? Honestly, I have a slogan that I say, the bad ones make it bad for the good ones. So with the consumer protection law in place, our agency is ramping up our outreach, and so that we can provide awareness to consumers within communities, vulnerable, those that are targeted. And we all know that our seniors are, or older adults, I'll say, are prime targets for fraud and scams. So the third bullet talks about spurring responsible innovation by connecting us with innovators early on so that we can provide input on the regulatory expectations to protect California consumers from, again, unfair, deceptive, and abusive acts and practices. So one more time. Yes? Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. This is Kevin from Contractors Board. We're not seeing your slides right now. Do you mind clicking the share screen button again? We're not able to see your slides.
All right, I'm going to end it and then I'll redo it. I don't know what's going on here. All right, share here. Sorry about that. How about now?
Wonderful.
Right.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. But you heard me talking, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and move from this slide, which talks about us regulating the financial products and services, chartered banks and credit unions, California financial lenders, residential mortgage lenders and servicers, the commercial and consumer loan companies, payday lenders, escrow agents, and more. And I also talked about the protection of the consumers from predatory businesses. And I was ending that portion of it, wanting to say it one more time, that we want you to be mindful that it's becoming harder to make decisions of who to work with, who to trust, because the bad ones are making it bad for the good ones. So the Dfpi, we are really trying to ramp up, and we are doing a good job with trying to bring awareness out to the public. Can you see that slide?
Yes.
So what is the role of the Dfpi? We are enforcing state financial laws and bringing actions against entities that violate these laws. We are making determinations as to whether a financial service product or professional requires licensing or registration within the state of California, and most of them do. We have an examination team that goes out to make sure that our licensees are in compliance with the state laws and that they are maintaining accurate records. We do investigations on the complaints that come into our department, again, on our licensees, registering certain securities offered into California for investing. And then also we provide resources for financial education and fraud prevention. So speaking of financial education, the next slide, how are we getting the information out to you, the consumer? So outreach team, our outreach team, which I am a part of, we are expanding due to that California financial protection law being signed by Governor Newsom. So we're taking a new approach, and we'll be targeting specific regions throughout California. And that will include, again, seniors, of course, military service members and their families, new Americans, students, and homeowners, and more, of course. So we're looking to partner and collaborate within communities. So our focus is to bring this awareness and to provide information to protect ourselves against these unscrupulous business practices as best we can. And we want to focus more on the targeted population and, of course, those that are vulnerable. In that way, in the way that we are doing that, we are providing financial literacy education through methods like this one, the virtual network, webinars, and also we are going to be doing hybrid presentations as well. We have a great educational booklet that we disseminate, which is called Protect Yourself from Fraud. And I'll show that to you later on in the presentation. And of course, we're promoting the Dfpi resources that you can find on our website. I have another slogan. I always say, if one is educated about fraud and scams, you may be less likely to fall victim. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be providing some tools and some defense mechanisms that you will put in place when you're being solicited, whether it's via the telephone, a knock on the door, an advertisement on TV, or in the mail. So Kevin talked about the contracting portion of being safe when you're doing home improvement. And I have to say, with the holidays approaching, home beautification are on people's minds. A lot of people have been doing home improvements. And many of them are seeking financing and may be approached or have been approached about that PACE program. So the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, we license the PACE program administrators and regulate the PACE industry. So what I want to inform people today, a lot of times people don't even know what PACE means. It's Property Assessed Clean Energy. That's what it stands for. And I have to reiterate, the Property Assessed Clean Energy. So it's a financing program to help finance energy efficient and water saving improvements to your property. So we're having people who are left with undone home improvements through PACE. We want you to be careful about choosing the lender and or the contractor that you are going to be doing business with. But most importantly, please, consumers need to be educated about this program before entering into a financing agreement, as the cost of the project or the repayment of the loan has been and can be misrepresented. Like Kevin said, it's not a free government program, and what the misrepresentation of it is that the individual or the solicitor is claiming no money down or no out-of-pocket costs. So of course, that sounds really good to everyone's ear. So it gives the impression that all the services are free, but it is not. Again, homeowners must know that you pay back the funding through your annual property taxes. So many have entered into this finance agreement and now are struggling, like Kevin said, to pay the property taxes because it's either doubled or tripled, and are at risk of losing their homes. And again, have been left with incomplete or unpermitted work. So do your homework by contacting the Dfpi to learn about the risks and the laws that are associated with the PACE program. And I want to end that sentence by saying, don't allow a contractor to come into your home and coax you into giving you granite kitchen counters or redoing your kitchen cabinets if it has nothing to do with energy efficiency or a water saving improvement. You might want to consider looking into a different, using somebody different. Okay, so let's talk about some of these pesky telephone calls that I'm quite sure that if I was in front of my audience, I would see everybody's hands raising. But I wanted to point this out to homeowners. we have a relief resource page. So as you know, COVID-19 related to financial setbacks have made it hard for some homeowners to make their mortgage payments. So to better support state and federal foreclosure protections and relief efforts, the Dfpi had launched a campaign to help communicate resources to homeowners most at risk of losing their homes. We have great information on our social media, but the main thing is that we have a great website, which is shown here on the screen. So I want people to know that if you're struggling making payments with your on your home, that you need to go to the source first. Go to your mortgage servicer first to find out what kind of mortgage relief they can help you with. And that also we have rights as homeowners. So don't forget that. And there are always some type of option that can help you. And then lastly, the California Housing Finance Agency has a big grant that it's a $1 billion grant in mortgage relief funds. So these are some of the resources that we have on our website. And also the department is working to ensure that the licensees which we regulate, servicing residential mortgages, that they are in compliance with these state and federal laws, protecting homeowners from COVID-19 related financial insecurity, and that they are informing what is eligible for the consumer to help with mortgage relief funds. And we are requiring our licensees to provide information about the actions that they are taking to help owners avoid foreclosure. So we're doing, they have to do screenings and assessments. So we are really working diligently with our licensees in the mortgage industry so that we can help and provide resources and making sure that the licensees are complying and helping the consumers, okay? So here we are. The pandemic has brought about a financial change and struggles to many, and many are looking for financial relief, of course. So when someone calls with an opportunity or offer of such, many have considered it. They didn't even do their homework, or they just believe the caller. So not just home phone calls, it's cell phones. And of course, we're also getting emails and now text messages. So I have this picture here because it's like, hello, 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 who's calling? You may pick up the phone and nobody's saying anything. We identify that as a robocall. And it's kind of like suspected to say, where they can bug you every single day at a specific time. But for me, if I'm saying hello, hello, and nobody's answering, I'm just going to disconnect the call. So on the left-hand side, I wanted to just kind of point out some of the highlighted and bulleted scams that the Department of Financial Protection is hearing about that is trending. So of course, we've had a lot of disasters, the fires, people are being displaced and asking for charity. But I want to point this out to everybody that is on the call and those that are watching. Please know that the fire department, the sheriff department, and the police department will not, and they do not call to solicit funds for charities. So if you receive a phone call like that, you should know that that's a red flag sign, okay? Debt collectors, we are proud to be the regulatory agency for debt collectors now, which we all should know that that's a third party collecting money on a supposed debt or maybe even a real debt that an individual may have. If you're receiving calls from someone identifying themselves as a debt collector for a bill or a credit card, whatever the bill is that you owe, but you know that you don't owe it, please disconnect the call and don't buy into that information. Home improvement, I talked about that with the PACE program, that I'm encouraging you to know the risks and find out the laws by going to our website before you sign the contract. Just like Kevin said, know what you're signing, okay? Financial relief opportunities, we're hearing and we're receiving a lot of phone calls about that. And the majority of those are pertaining to mortgage servicers. The forbearance and the moratoriums have stopped. So people are now, having to start paying back money, and they have to start paying their mortgages. And, some are late, some, put it into forbearance. So there's a backlog. So please, If you're receiving phone calls from someone who is offering you an opportunity and it sounds good, first thing you might want to think to yourself, this may sound too good to be true. But again, contact the department before you engage in business. And we do have a toll-free number and live representatives. Ask the question, are they properly licensed? Are they able to solicit me in California or from a different state? So before you fall for a phone call with someone offering you an opportunity, whether it's a financial relief, an investment opportunity, please do your homework and don't make a decision right away. I have romance and sweetheart swindle asterisk here. We don't deal with the romance scams so much, but what I am hearing is that there have been a great deal of older adults who are being pressured into buying cryptocurrency and open up Robinhood accounts. First of all, I'm just going to be honest. I'm very green when it comes to cryptocurrency and Bitcoins and Robinhood. So can you imagine an individual or an older adult who's in their 70s get a phone call and they're being pressured? There was an incident where an individual actually depleted her bank account, depleted her checking and savings account, and even took out a HELOC on her home because of the pressure to open up a Robinhood and put the money in there. And she depleted the HELOC, which is, on your home. Didn't know anything about the cryptocurrency at all. But again, the person had sweet talked her, became her friend, cared about her, all of the above. So I'm just going to say this. There have been a lot of people who have become isolated. People are lonely, and we welcome a phone call. So if you're welcoming a phone call and then you're going even further because you may be computer savvy, let's start thinking about having a romance via computer, especially when the individual wants you to isolate your conversation, especially when the individual keeps saying how much he cares about you and he's loving you now, especially when that computer companion starts asking you for money because of a situation that they're having, which prevents them from coming to see you. So be mindful about romance and sweetheart swindle scams, and don't be pressured into purchasing anything. On the right-hand side, I have the red flag sign calls. We hear this all the time about the grandparent and the relative scam, where someone calls you and indicates that a relative or a grandchild has been picked up by the police and that they stand to go to jail, but you need to send money right away. If someone is asking you to go to the store to get a green dot card or even a credit card and scratch off the numbers on the back and come back and provide that information after you have placed 1,000 or whatever they're asking for on that card, that's a red flag sign. So before you fall for the grandparent and or the relative scam with someone calling that they're in distress, please verify the information before you send money. All of these calls are very frightening, and it puts fear in us because nobody wants their relative to be in trouble. But I'm saying to you today, if you don't get anything out of my presentation, remember that the lady from Dfpi said, do my homework and verify my information before I move to engage. Government imposters, we are seeing this and hearing this a lot. And what does that mean? All of these that I have listed here, Medicare, Medi-Cal, Social Security, IRS, these are all government entities. So if you receive a phone call from Medicare or Medi-Cal, and a lot of us may have been doing that since open enrollment is right now, for someone offering you to do something with your Medicare card, they can lower this or, place you on that. Please don't believe that. We're hearing a lot of scams about Medicare and Medicare where you can see the commercial, knee and back brace. You can get it, and what do they want? Your personal information from your Medicare. They want your Medicare number. So please be mindful that if your doctor did not do the prescription for that, and someone calls with an opportunity for you to get a quote unquote free one, Don't buy into that, okay? Social Security Administration does not and will not call you about your Social Security card. So when you get a phone call saying that your card has been used or your Social Security number has been used in a different state, I've gotten that. I know that it's a scam and they're trying to get that information from you because Social Security Administration does not call. The IRS, we know that these stimulus checks are coming, the child care relief funds are coming. The IRS is not going to call me and say, hey, Miss Wiley, I just wanted to give you a courtesy call that I put your stimulus check in your bank account, or I'm sending you one in the mail. The only way that you're going to get your stimulus check is by direct deposit, a paper check, and possibly the debit card with the money on there. So if I also get a phone call from someone telling me that they can get that money for me quicker by giving them $100, or I can get it for you quicker, give me your checking account information, whatever the case may be, that's a red flag sign call. They cannot do that. The IRS is the only one that has control over how those checks are being dispersed, okay? Lastly, I wanted to talk about the utility company scams. I got a phone call and I got home. This is when I was in person and I was working in the office, and I get home and there is a phone call that I get and it says, hey, I'm calling from, I'm just going to say ABC utility company, and I see that your bill is delinquent. I am Mr. Smith and I work in the delinquent section with ABC company. And if you don't pay the bill today by 5 o'clock, your services will be cut off. So of course, people start panicking, and I just started chuckling because it was actually like 6:15 in the evening. So you're still telling me that my services are going to be cut off at 5 o'clock, and it's way past that time. But even on top of that, before you even think about that, if you know that your bill is not delinquent, don't provide the personal information to them. Feel free to hang up. Never use the number that an individual that you are not familiar with the number with, you've never seen it before, and they're leaving you a voice message and have a callback number. Don't use that number again. Go to the source. Call your utility company yourself and to verify your information. Don't use the phone number that is left on your answering machine. We don't know who actually is leaving it. So again, any phone call that you get that you don't recognize and it sounds too good to be true, or even if you're interested in it, the red flag sign is, and the food for thought there is, they called you, you didn't call them, okay? We all know that many Californians are struggling with financial losses triggered again by the pandemic and have been turning to the alternative digital methods. So I wanted to just talk really quickly about internet safety. Because these are phishing scams, and it's again phishing for your personal information. The first one at the top is secure your network. The holiday times are approaching and they're here. More people are buying online versus going into the stores to shop. If you are going to be online shopping, buying airline tickets, whatever the case may be, how do you know that the site is secure? And you should know that by seeing this lock that's closed on the left-hand side in your URL. And more importantly, this S after that HTTP means that the site is secure. Sometimes we will get redirected to another site. And if that happens, the first thing you should be looking for is that lock or that S. We're all using our cell phones, okay? So we want to start thinking about doing a two-step verification, signing up for something. Yeah, put a password on there so that your information is secure and only you know that password. That's that second step verification. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't stress enough, limit your personal information. And I'm going to talk about here this F, which is for Facebook. We're putting way too much information on Facebook. People don't need to know that I'm going on vacation starting tomorrow, November 13th, and I'm coming back the day after Thanksgiving on the 26th. That's way too much information, and it sets yourself up for robbery, people watching your home, or just opening up the wrong can of worms. So let's limit the personal information that we're putting on social media and on these sites. Lastly, I want to talk about passwords. Again, there's online shopping, there's grocery store shopping, there's banking online. We're all using a lot of online apps. So if I go into my bank account online to check my balance or to just get some information, I'm going to remember to log out of that account. Sign out when you're checking your credit card balances, sign out. And let's maybe think about changing our passwords more often than we used to, okay? So that people can't keep up with it, but make sure that you know what it is. So I presented a lot of information so far today, and I just want to now wrap up by giving some information on protecting yourself from fraud and some defense tips. And I spoke earlier about our Protect Yourself from Fraud booklet, and this is what it actually looks like. So just with the telephone, it's best to just hang up if you're, don't know who it is and they're being kind, and, you just hang up if you don't recognize the number, if you have a caller ID. Don't call the number left on your machine. Go to the source yourself. I spoke about online services. Change your passwords. Remember to log out and be cautious with the technology. Understanding it is key, okay? Internet, email, or text messages. Pay attention to those email extensions and hover over that link. If you're getting emails and you say, I wonder who this is from, you might want to hover over the link to make sure that the link and the extension go together. And why I'm saying that is because there's a lot of online shopping. There was an individual who actually shopped on Amazon. And, when we're shopping online, we have to provide our credit card information or however you're going to be paying for your purchase. And then you should be getting an email of confirmation saying that here's your confirmation code. Thank you very much. We've gotten your information, and you should get an email when it ships. So what happened with this individual, she got an email saying that there was a problem and that she needed to re-enter her personal information so that they can get the items out shipped to her. She did not hover. She didn't pay attention because what it said was Amazon.con, C-O-N instead of C-O-M. So verify by going over that link and make sure that that site is secure, and be careful clicking into unknown text messages and emails. And, we talked about investment opportunities. Do your homework. Call the department to see if there's been any disciplinary actions against an individual or entity that you're thinking about doing business. We are starting, we just have a website put up about cryptocurrency because that's an emerging thing now. So if you're not understanding it, you have questions, please look on our website and or call our call center. I want to talk about mail real quick. We still have what people call dumpster divers. So once you roll your trash cans off your curb, it's free reign for anybody. And I would never think about this before, because you see people going in the trash, but they're not only looking for the bottles and the cans for money, they are also looking for information. So if you're not shredding, if you're not cutting up your envelopes that have your name and your address on it, I'm going to suggest that you do. That junk mail that we thought that we used to call junk mail, those applications, don't just throw it in the trash can, tear it up and shred it, because people are looking to become you. All right. Don't drop your mail in the box after the last pickup. If you're going to put your mail in the blue boxes, look at the last pickup. There are people who do drive by and make mechanisms to go inside the trash cans to pull out mail. We're shopping, we're expecting packages. Retrieve all your packages as soon as you know that they're going to be delivered. So be mindful of when your packages are supposed to be delivered so you can retrieve it before someone else does. I want to talk about credit versus debit transactions, okay? There's still what we call skimmers, which is an undetected device that is shown over, that's placed over the machines that we swipe or insert our cards into. So I'm going to suggest, again, not just because it's holiday time, but I'm stressing it even harder because it's holiday time, use the option for credit instead of debit. So you don't have to punch in your PIN number. When that PIN number comes up, you can bypass that and the receipt should just print out, okay? So be mindful of that. And I wanna even take it a step further and say, if you are using your credit card, when you get your statements, be mindful of the purchases that you have made. So when your bill comes and you see something on there that you didn't purchase, you need to report it as soon as possible, okay? The skimmers, excuse me, were known at first to only be on the outside, but they are now starting to show up on inside. And when I say inside, I'm saying grocery stores and department stores. So be mindful of things of that nature. Monitoring your credit, I just talked about that. And if you're done establishing new credit, you might want to think about putting a freeze on it. I placed a freeze on my mom's credit, who's almost 80. She has her wits about herself, but we know that she's not going to be establishing any new credit. So we did that. And you might want to also think about young children who are not able to establish credit at this time. Place a freeze on there. Review your statements immediately, okay? Placing a freeze is easy, it's free. And if you do need to establish credit, or if you need your credit report run, then you can just lift it. I want to just say that our materials are being revised, but we do have this booklet currently in English and Spanish. And if you're interested in a presentation or our upcoming materials, you can simply email, and my email address will be provided at the end of the presentation. So again, if you are a victim or you think you have been a victim of identity theft, you can also file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission at the website shown here. So a lot of information, but the bottom line for me is, number one, to trust your instincts. And again, if it sounds too good to be true, when someone is offering you an opportunity or you're thinking about engaging in business, do your homework, okay? And then go with your gut feeling. Number two, never give out your personal information over the phone unless you initiated the contact, but not calling the phone number that has been left on your answering machine. Always what I say, go to your source yourself. So here is, lastly, how can we help you? We learn about us at dfpi.ca.gov. Our website hosts helpful resources and information. You, the public, are vital to the department, as you all are our eyes and our ears. So if you know of someone or a company breaking the law, let us know. Our Consumer Services Office toll-free number is listed here. Again, live person representatives, and we do have multi-language access and can help with other languages. When you call our toll-free number, if you're thinking about doing business, we can help you verify the licensing status of a financial institution, service, or professional. We can provide consumers with information on how to file a consumer complaint about that institution or individual that's licensed by our department. If it's not within our jurisdiction, we will send it to the appropriate agency for handling. Okay, so again, I can't stress enough, contact us before you engage by doing your homework. You can simply ask DFPI at dfpi.ca.gov. If you have a question, just email us, okay? And again, if you're interested in a publication or a presentation, you can email our outreach box. And again, all of our booklets are right now in English and in Spanish. So sometimes it's good to have a person to contact directly. I've been talking a lot, and the next speaker is up. So here's my information, but due to COVID, I'm still teleworking, and right now I don't have a phone number. So the only way that you can contact me with a question question or interest in a presentation or some publications, you can email me here. So with that, Emily, back to you. And thank you all and have a wonderful holiday and continue to be safe.
All right, thank you so much, Jackie, for all of those very important tips. Next, we are going to hear from Tanya Martin from the California Department of Insurance. And just before we hear from her, I do also want to just let you guys know again, all of that information that both Jackie and Kevin and then Tanya will be sharing, we will be recording and then sharing with all of you to distribute afterwards. So don't feel like you need to write everything down and rush to make sure you have it all. So Tanya, if you're ready, you can go.
Oh, good. Thank you very much, Emily. And thank you for to the Assemblyman for the opportunity to be here today. I want to start by sharing my screen here. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm having a little difficulty. See, how's that? Oops, not sharing the right thing here, huh? There we go. Think everybody can see the screen now?
Yep, you're good.
Looks good, Tanya.
Thank you. So again, we want to thank you for this, for being here today, and for the seniors for taking the time out to share this opportunity with you.
Tanya, sorry to interrupt. We're
Sure.
seeing we see your notes now.
Oh,
we don't see your slides anymore.
Oh,
We see your
wow.
Word document.
Okay, great. I had a problem today with my screen, so I appreciate your help. Let me just pull this down. Well, looks like I'm having a little problem still with my screen. I do apologize. Okay.
Hi, Tanya, this is Sally.
Hey, Sally.
Hello, I am sharing your screen for you.
Oh, thank you, Sally.
Everybody see that okay?
Yeah, we just need to put it in presentation mode, Sally.
Perfect.
Thank you, Sally. I was
You're
having
welcome.
problems today with
Thanks,
my
Sally.
screen.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And you are good to go,
Oh,
Tanya.
yes.
First screen.
Thank you. So I'll start with a brief overview of the Department of Insurance to discuss common insurance scams and how you can protect yourself, and then close with resources available to you from the department. The California Department of Insurance, also known as CDI, is a state agency, and we regulate the insurance marketplace. We regulate all lines of insurance: homeowners, auto, life, and health, just to name a few. We also regulate the insurance companies, agents, and brokers that sell insurance. We have over 1,400 dedicated employees to oversee over 1,400 insurance companies and license more than 425,000 agents and brokers. We enforce the insurance laws of California and have authority over how insurers and licensees conduct businesses. As all of CDI's functions, including overseeing insurer solvency, licensed agents, brokers, conducting and market conduct reviews, resolving consumer complaints, investigating and prosecuting insurance fraud, are to protect consumers. We are sort of like the insurance police. California has the largest insurance market in the United States and fourth in the world. California's insurance companies collect $340 billion in premiums every year. That's what you and I pay in insurance every year. As a consumer, you ever have a problem with your insurance company, agent, or broker, just give us a call. Prop 103 allows consumers to elect our own insurance commissioner. Commissioner Ricardo Lara took office in 2019 and started off running, and he hasn't looked back. Here's just a list of some of the actions that he has taken as your commissioner to protect Californians. We have hosted over 66 virtual town halls and reached over 25,000 consumers. When the pandemic started, we were on a stay-at-home order. So the commissioner quickly realized that Californians aren't driving as much. So he ordered insurance companies to issue partial premium refunds on their auto policies. The result, financial relief for many of us. This order has returned $1.7 billion to Californians, the most in the nation. And although our investigation of consumer complaints and insurance companies' practices, we have obtained over $254 million for consumers in 2020. Next slide. Reports indicate seniors are the largest population targeted for scams. Why are seniors big targets? Because seniors have bank accounts, savings, you have accumulated wealth, you have money accumulated in your homes, money in life insurance, retirement savings, and sometimes don't have a loved one looking out for them. And someone wants to steal a piece of your hard-earned savings. Lastly, most seniors are just too nice, not like some of the younger generations. You have time and want to talk to people, even strangers. The good news is that there's a lot of protection programs for seniors because large number of baby boomer equals large voting power. One of the most popular scams involving seniors is an annuity. Why? California spends an average of $20 billion on annuities, a lot of money to be made by scamming agents. An annuity is a contract between you and the insurance company. You buy it by making one or more premium payments, and then in return, they make income payments to you for a fixed period of time in the future. It's often used as an investment vehicle for your retirement income. It's sold by licensed insurance agents, usually with a financial background. Growth in annuities are also tax deferred. Annuities are great for some, but lousy for others. Why? Usually because of the 7-year surrender charge. There's a big penalty for you to take your money out if you need it, maybe in case of emergency, but agents love to sell it because it's big upfront commissions. Then starts the twisting and churning. This is when the agent gets you into one annuity, then 12 months or 18 months later calls and says he's found a better annuity for you and you need to switch now. What does that mean to you? You may be hit with a penalty for early withdrawal, but it's more upfront commission for the agent again, and you might even have a tax implication on the top of it. But if you have a financial advisor whom you've been working with for years, they know your financial goals, your financial picture, your risk tolerance, and suggest adding annuity to your portfolio, and explains the type of annuity, the pros, the cons, and what makes sense as part of diversifying your portfolio. Then an annuity can be the right investment for you. Do not make a decision to buy an annuity in haste. Sleep on it. Think it over with a family member or someone you trust. If the annuity is a good deal today, it should be a good deal tomorrow. Another common insurance scam includes premium theft or auto stage accidents, and now COVID-19 related insurance scams. Premium theft occurs when you buy an insurance policy from an agent or broker and then never actually buying the policy with an insurance company. And you're now thinking to yourself, how can that happen? Well, do you have a receipt? Do you have a copy of the policy? Did you get a statement? Well, some scam agents, whether they are currently licensed or not, will go to great lengths to steal. Let me share a latest arrest of an agent in San Clemente. Robert Studdard was arrested after an investigation found he allegedly stole over $1.2 million from more than 20 victims, including 14 seniors. He is being charged with 51 felony counts of grand theft, elder abuse, money laundering, securities violation, and aggravated white-collar crime enhancements. The insurance agent allegedly violated his victims' trust and placed them in financial risk for his own gain. For 6 years, Studdard conducted investment and retirement-related seminars that targeted senior citizens and used various schemes to fraudulently gain victims' trust and cultivate friendships in order to steal money from them. Studdard led victims to believe he obtained bonuses from insurance companies that he could apply to their existing life policies or annuity contracts if they paid their premiums directly to him rather than to an insurance company. He then failed to place the annuity and life insurance policy and also enticed his victims into fraudulent real estate investment schemes. Studdard forged insurance statements, emails, and letters, which led victims to believe the information he relayed to them was true. He would eventually pay the investment returns to victims, but those were later halted. Thank goodness he has been taken into custody, and we hope the victims will be able to get some of their money back. Stage auto accident fraud, believe it or not, it still occurs. If you get in an accident and something just doesn't feel right, call the police and report it to your insurance. I'm talking about that gut feeling you get. Let's say you're driving down the street that you're familiar with, that usually isn't too busy, and all of a sudden the car in front of you stops short and there is another car next to you, so you can't move and you rear end the car in front of you. You pull over and the car that was next to you is gone, but the car you rear-ended pulls over and the driver gets out holding his neck, then the front passenger is holding his lower back, and then 2 or 3 more passengers all exit the sedan. Something doesn't feel right. 2 different potential frauds could occur here. Then the driver says he's going to do you a favor by not reporting this to the insurance company or to your insurance company and how you can settle this. And he'll even follow you to the bank to get the cash. Red alert here. Fraud, fraud, fraud. Are the passengers all claim bodily injury for a minor fender bender and file claims against your insurance company? Now you're thinking, well, that doesn't hurt me. The insurance company is paying, your insurance rates will go up because of the bodily injury claim. This is just one example of a stage auto accident. There are several versions of this. Again, if your gut tells you something isn't right, take a deep breath, don't feel rushed, and make any decisions at the accident site. Do not admit fault. Do not tell anyone about your insurance policy or your coverage limits. You do have to exchange your insurance carrier information, but nothing more. Call the police, call your insurance company. Let's talk COVID-19. We're hearing about a new scam related to COVID-19 and health insurance. It's when someone from your family member, from your family member's insurance company calls, letting you know that, say, Susan is in the hospital and needs a respirator. But Susan, being sick, forgot to pay her premium, so she needs your help to make a late payment so Susan can get her respirator. Wrong. Insurance companies don't call relatives to make payments over the phone. They will send an insured a letter in writing if you miss the payment. These scammers are trying to get your personal information. Again, trust your instincts. If something doesn't sound right, get their contact info and talk it over with a family member or a friend, and then you can always call them back. Next slide. What are some of the insurance scam warning signs? Now we all know the saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Well, pay attention. The agent offers a free seminar, insights like assisted living centers, retirement communities, or places of worship, or say a nice restaurant, a free meal. I just received a flyer last week with a picture of a big steak dinner. Or the agent offers to create or update a living trust in order to see your financial information. They are all trying to find new clients that can potentially be worth a lot more money to them than the free living trust they are offering. They want your financial information, and it's up to you to guard it. Remember, there is no senior retirement living trust specialist. This is their own designation. This is exactly how Agent Studdard from San Clemente was able to steal $1.2 million from his clients. Seniors have more rights when it comes to insurance, and it's called Senior Insurance Bill of Rights. And the full list can be found on our website. And one senior right is that you may review a policy of life, annuity, long-term care, or Medicare supplement for 30 days after you receive the policy in order to decide whether you wish to keep the policy. If you decide you do not want the policy, you can return it for a full refund. What can you do to avoid becoming a victim of insurance fraud? Number one, check the status of your insurance company and your agents on our website to make sure they are in good standing. You should always answer all questions thoroughly and truthfully on a policy. False statements or omissions can cancel the policy. Do not leave any blank spaces on an application. Dishonest agents can fill in blanks without your approval. Get everything in writing and compare policies. Do not pay with cash. Make checks payable to the insurance company or agency business name and not in the agent's name. Don't buy coverage you can't afford and only coverage you need. Avoid being over and underinsured. Most important, ask questions. What does the policy cover? What is not covered or excluded? What is the cost and how often, if canceled? Are there any surrender charges? Is it suitable for me and my situation and plans? But never feel pressured or intimidated. Consider having a trusted person with you, because agents know they never should use high pressure sales tactics. And never sign anything you don't understand. Next slide, please. What can you do to protect yourself? Don't engage. Don't be polite. You can hang up the phone like Jackie mentioned earlier. Be stingy with your personal information. Change your passwords. Hang up the phone. Stop being nice. And report fraud. Next slide, please. If you suspect fraud, call someone, report it. There are 3 organizations to call here. And the last is the website that you can learn more about current issue scams. Next slide. Next up are resources just for seniors. Senior Gateway is on our site. It's a one-stop website intended to provide seniors, their families, and caregivers the information they need to connect to helpful services and resources to find answers and solve problems. This includes information on topics such as voting and reporting abuse and neglect, preventing fraud, financial abuse and common scams, healthcare information, and your rights. Please visit www.seniors.insurance.ca.gov. We also have informational guides specifically for seniors, annuities, what seniors need to know, driving for seniors, insurance bill of rights. All of our guides are free and also available in PDF on our website. If you have any questions about your current insurance policy, new policy, or you've been denied coverage, claim, or canceled, or you want to report fraud, please call our customer service hotline. Next slide, please. At 1-800-927-4444. 8357. We have experts that can assist you in different languages, and we will never ask for your immigration status. Or you can visit our website at www.insurance.gov. Next slide. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that you leave today remembering knowledge is power, and you are ready to take action to protect yourself. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Tanya, for that very informative
Thank you.
presentation. So now all of our presentations are over. I'd like to open the floor up for some questions. Again, if you would like to ask a question, you have two options. You can either click the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. That will allow us to be notified that your hand is raised and you have a question. I can unmute your microphone and you can verbally ask your question, or you can type in your question in the Q&A box and I can answer it live on screen. It looks like Steve Tutunjian, your hand is raised. I'm going to allow you to talk now. It's indicated that you have a question, so you are permitted to speak.
That was a mistake. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay. If anybody has questions, you can, again, raise your hand or type it in the Q&A. All right, it looks like we have a question here from Marty Judge. It says, can scammers get info off of chipped credit cards? I'm not sure if one of our panelists or multiple of them have advice for that, but I'll open that up to them.
This is Jackie. I don't want to say yes or no, but what I will say is that scammers are good at what they do. So just keep that in mind, whether it's chipped or not, but I would just be replacing that. Yeah. I've never heard of that instance, so that's why I'm saying yes or no.
Thank you, Jackie. All right. Looks like I have another question here. This one I would think is for Kevin. It says, why is the down payment information so important when hiring contractors? Why is the payment information on a written contract so important? I know that you kind of touched on that during your presentation, but if you would like to elaborate a little bit for the question.
Absolutely. So the down payment information, 10% or $1,000, whatever's less, that is a consumer protection measure. That's so you don't give them too much money up front. As soon as you give an unlicensed individual or a licensed contractor too much money up front, they can take the money and run, or they can leave the job unfinished. And when they have the money in hand, they can leave the job unfinished or in poor quality or not up to standards. And that's one way they can scam you or rip you off. What was the other question? Oh, in writing? Yeah, all the important information involving a contract should always be put in writing. That way, down the line, if it heads to small claims court or if CSLB mediation personnel need to get involved, then they have a written contract to go off of, and we can say definitively you do not follow section this and this of the contract. So it's always important to get the most important things about the project written down in a contract.
Great, thank you, Kevin.
Emily, I want to also add to my answer. Again, I can't stress enough that scammers and hackers are good at what they do. And so the chip was supposed to have been, extra protection for us. But remember, I talked about the skimmers, which are those devices that we can't normally see. So sometimes you want to shake it or make sure that the ATM is, not loose or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to say yes. With the chips the information can be lifted because there's just so many different things that a scammer can do. So I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's very helpful. Okay, so it looks like Carol, your hand is raised, so I'm going to allow you to speak, and you should now have ability, so you can ask your question.
Hey, I just had a quick question because, with regards to a lot of scam calls and phishing and all that, which agency would we contact to report it? I've been using donotcall.gov, for phone calls. But, I think it'd be nice to know if there's some way of finding out what action has been done to, take care of the problem.
I'm not sure if you're referring to the Do Not Call registry with the Federal Trade Commission. That is one of the prime agencies that you can be contacting, and then they have like a list or whatever that they do there. But it's the Federal Trade Commission. When you want to report, let's just say a caller continues to call you every single day, but then they might use a different number, but it's still the same message, that kind of thing. So you can report it to the Federal Trade Commission.
Thank you, Jackie. Did that answer your question, Carol?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to raise your hand or use the Q&A box to type them in. All right, it looks like I have one more question. This one says, I'm having problems communicating with my mortgage services. What should I do? I think, again, this might be a question for Jackie.
Yes, well, we license and regulate mortgage servicers, so feel free to contact us toll free, 866-275-2677, and I have put that information in the chat box. Yes, so we can try to get that rectified and help you with your situation.
Perfect. Carol, it looks like your hand is raised again. I'll allow you to talk again. And if you have another question, feel free to ask it now.
I do with regards to long-term care insurance. Is there a way to find out, because, companies go in and out of California. Is there a way to find out which companies are, not fraudulent, but, will stay in the state?
Yeah, yes, we have an updated list on our website.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tanya. And thank you for your questions, Carol. That's, I'm sure it's helpful to many others who just don't ask the question as well. All right. I am not seeing any other questions. I'll give it a couple more seconds just in case anybody forgot or wants to ask them now. Again, you can raise your hand or type your question in the Q&A box. I think a lot of information was shared by all the panelists, so I think most things were covered. Like I said, we will be sending out a link to this recording, and you can all reference that with all the information and all of the resources, phone numbers, websites, all of that will be included in that video recording that we will be archiving on our website, and we will email all of the attendees a link to that. If no other questions are in, I think that we are good. Thank you so much to all the panelists today. That was very informative. Like I said, all of this information is going to be archived on our website, so people can access it whenever they want. This is very helpful. I'm very thankful. Our office is very thankful for all of the presenters. And yeah, we just would like to thank you for your time.